You're my best friend. Oh, you're my best friend. You're best friend. It helps deal with the pain. But why the rum gun? Well, as you can see, I have not gone over what happened in 2025. The ship sank, and I didn't get off in time. Hey everybody, I'm Cortez, and I'm a critic, and welcome back. Ah, the pain, the pain, the theatrics. Do not fire the cannon, for my head is throbbing in pain. It has been a tough off season after a embarrassing season. Today we'll be talking about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, my favorite team. And unlike the people of my town, I am a realistic Buccaneer fan, but also not obnoxious. Let's talk about So the time of this recording, as my other videos have been told, I'm slurring my words. Levante's gone, Evans is gone. Two cornerstone high draft picks. Levante was a second round pick, and Evans was top 10. And still, two captains on the defense and offensive side of the football. Something that the Buccaneers have not had since, the days of Alstott and Wark done. And of course, Sapp and Brooks and Lynch, and Barber being the last Buccaneers saying goodbye. We must, as fans, ride the new ship into the future. That, like every good team, sometime we have to move on. We have to move on. And let's be real. We got a championship. Evans and Levante got the rings. They both have a strong resume to make a claim for a potential gold jacket. But they have made impacts beyond just the Buccaneer organization, but among the NFL. And for that, we as fans should be thankful. But boy, was I a little optimistic about the year. I felt as successful as the offense was under Liam Cohen, and then the betrayal went to Jacksonville. And then we got someone from inside the Buccaneer organization promoted, Grizzard. And then the offense just sank. Even though at times it looked like we were still going there, and Buka come in, Bucky was back, like everything just happened. And then we got the big case of the injury bug. And I know injuries is not technically an excuse, but we have to at least consider injuries as a variable, because there are teams where sometimes you just have to admit next man up doesn't work for everybody. In Tampa, there were some positions that did. Tez Johnson and Buka, the two rookie wide receivers, stepped up when they could. Sean Tucker had moments. Bucky disappeared and Rashad stepped up, and then he's gone to Washington. Yeah. And that sometimes we just have to admit next man up doesn't work for everybody. And it affected the Buccaneers tremendously. The whole offensive line was never together, all five of them, from last year. Say what you want to say about that. But we did get our tackles signed for big contracts to keep them on our team, so I hope we can say the future is secured. And Baker is on his last year deal, and some people in Tampa are saying that Baker needs to be gone. But very much like certain people of leadership, they don't think, so who's the replacement? Hmm? Hmm? It's like burning down the house to get rid of the rats. But then you forgot, what do we do after that? You don't think. We're emotional. And sometimes we are a little bit short-sighted, is a nice way of me saying that. But Todd Bowles stays. Say what you want to say about that, because I had to say the same thing. Who are you going to get better than Todd Bowles? And you might say others. I'm like, sure, sure. Or we can go down the same rabbit hole we did when we were promoted Raheem Morris and then got Greg Schiano and Dirk Cutter, Lovie Smith. We can go back to that whole thing again. Tampa Bay is not a top 5 bad team to be considering that bad. And the division is not going to help our case. So, in all honesty, we have to be smart. We have to be realistic. And in a weird way, we have to accept that we're not the Chiefs. We're not the Patriots. But we're also not the Raiders. And we're not the Browns. We have to accept what we are. And this team, on paper, is quality. Now, will that work? We'll see. But if Baker was such a bad thing, how come every offensive coordinator so far he has had in Tampa basically became a head coach? And funny enough, both were successful as head coaches already. Both won division titles and went to the playoffs. So, yeah, we'll see what to do with Zach Robinson. But this whole year felt very much like the ceiling was high and we were thinking of beyond. And so what if no one's talking about us? We kind of like it like that. When we got Brady, nobody was talking about us at all. Even though we had Tom Brady, people kept thinking that Brady's old, Brady's old, Brady's old, Brady's old. So, Bucs fans, I'll admit I had the 12-5 as my high point, but if things somehow got derailed here and there, 8-9, and then they went 8-9. So you can blame injuries, you can blame coaching. I'm going to a little bit of column A, a little column B. I think that it's kind of hard. They always say it's hard to win in this league, and for the Buccaneers, it felt like that was the theme. It was hard to win this league when basically your star players kind of covered up the fact that your depth and your coaching was kind of not up to par. And towards the end of the year, it just felt like we were like almost begging and pleading for a win. It just never felt that even if we were going to win, it wasn't like a win. It was more like, oh boy, we got to win. So 8-9 kind of fit what the Bucs are. We're a mediocre team with talent, but we don't have the right ingredients. Would Zach Robinson do it? I mean, were we really high on Dave Canales? Were we really high on Liam Cohen? There's a lot of players and a lot of people the Bucs have had that we were all like going like, we got him. Was anybody really excited about Shaq Barrett? So, for the Buccaneers, that's what it was. Are we really high on these guys? We gotta wait and see. I'm optimistic, but everyone that's saying that we're gonna have like a terrible season, like we have no idea who we're gonna draft. We have no idea what the NFC South's gonna be. So let's stop the we're Super Bowl winners, Super Bowl contenders to we're the worst team since sliced rotten bread. No. And I think the promise is there is going to their best game of the year. And it was between two, but I feel like one made the most appropriate sense. Week 5 at Seattle. Yes, it's a retro game, and yes, it was Seattle's worst game. But the fact of the matter is, it's technically the only game Seattle lost, because they got revenge on the other two teams, the Niners and the Rams, and then some. But this was a game that showed we're winning without Evans. We barely have a rushing attack. Defense can't stop anybody, apparently. And Emeka Egbuka, at least for the time being, proved that he was a good pickup. And then some. Probably already investing. Down the season, probably a different story. But he was proving that, oh my goodness, we have got another future. And we were kind of smart, because even I was going like, Egbuka, really? We need defense. Now I'm like, whew, good thing we got Mbuka. We'll see what happens the second year. We'll see what happens there. Now that he has, a full off season and a full second year under his belt, we'll see what he can do. But this was a game that really sparked the whole Baker MVP talks and Buka Offensive Rookie of the Year. It really felt that everything was going right, and they did it without a really healthy Godwin and Evans' absence. And the offensive line that was still injured. Kalijah Kancey, we lost him in week 2 to Houston. So we were still coming in with major injuries with players. And we're on the road. We went from all the way from Tampa to Seattle, West Coast game. That's always that time zone thing that was like mess with the players. And for at least this one game, yes, it was a high scoring affair. And yes, Doink Kirill helped us win. But at least it showcased that, at least offensively anyway, the Bucs can compete. And Grizzard was looked as a genius. But the season was still young. It was still young. And I really felt like the worst was yet to come, and it did. Going to your worst game. And I think there's plenty of worst game, but I think the worst game that pretty much, I would say, shifted Evans's support to commit to Tampa for another year and to make his decision late in his career for one last hurrah. Week 15 versus Atlanta. 14-point lead. Third and 24? Fourth and 17? Whatever it was. Fourth and 12? Whatever. Third and 28? Whatever it was. I was always told it sucks to lose by 1, but it feels great to win by 1. And in a game where basically the Falcons only used Kyle Pitts, really, the one player that everyone, including the blind and deaf guys in the corner, said Kyle Pitts would be the only threat, and then he was getting the ball where everyone in the stadium, including the cheerleaders, mascots, commentators, caterers, says Kyle Pitts' only success is against the Bucs. And he signed his franchise tag. And Kirk Cousins, and we had 5 sacks, multiple turnovers we could have recovered, but we couldn't recover the football. This game was the epitome of offense can score 28 points and still lose, because the defense is the problem. It has been the problem all year. And in this game on prime time and everybody, it really showed that Evans can do everything in his power and still lose. That to me ended the Bucs season, in my opinion. The blowout loss, and what was fun is that Raheem Morris won that game and he still got fired in the year. So, kudos to us. It was the worst game for all the categories. The collapse, the prime time, the everything was bad. And I feel like that was the game that I feel like a lot of players and a lot of, not players, but I mean fans, I should say, were really like, yeah, Todd Bowles is fired, right? Even I was saying, I was like, yeah, that's a loss that's going to be hard to swallow. I feel like for Todd Bowles' sake, there weren't really any good candidates that's willing to put this investment. Plus, there's also that notion that Baker Mayfield will have 1 year left in his contract. And who knows if the head coach would want Baker Mayfield for that 1 year proven. So, let's put everyone in here and see what they can do for 1 more year. That's what I feel like is the theme of the Bucs offseason. MVP for the Buccaneers. There's not really a lot of candidates that really says it, but I'm giving Emeka Egbuka. Yes, he kind of dwindled off at the end. He was basically 70 yards from 1,000 yards for like the last 6 weeks of the season and couldn't get that. And he did have some dropolitis, the worst possible case. As a tight end myself, catching the ball is literally your only thing to do. You're a receiver, catch. But he was, even with those drop in the late season meltdown, collapse, yelps, whatever you want to do, yips, whatever you want to talk about it, he was still the best player. To me, he was my MVP. He stepped up when Evans and Godwin were either not around or not healthy enough to compete, and he did his job. Tez Johnson also stepped up, so I'll give him a little star there too. But to me, Emeka Egbuka will be my MVP. I feel like he proved enough. Now we'll see what, the offseason, and we'll do in the draft, and what happened in the new scheme. but I feel like Mecca Ibuka is still a wide receiver we need to be proud of for what he did. Grade for the Buccaneers. This team is a D. This is a defense. Disappointment. Down. No defense. No D. It's a D. This team, the first half of the season, 6-2, A+. But the second half, 2-7 at down the line when they're a game, probably, like I said, one win away. Anywhere. Against Miami, against the Saints, against the Falcons. Could have put us at 9-8 or maybe even higher at 10. Would have gotten to the playoffs. Probably got shellacked by the Ram, but D. Disappointment. Down. Dumb. Dang. Come to the draft. Now the Bucs are sitting at 15, and the Bucs have that weird, soft spot of 15. It's mid-tier. Like I said, the Bucs are not top 5 bad, but also not top 5 great. And they have basically there's a lot of mock drafts going on right now. We're still a few weeks away from the draft. There's still a lot of mock drafts. And honestly, I am honestly just thinking, whatever. So this is my whatever. In the 15th overall pick in the 2020. Also, I think the Bucs will probably trade out if some of these players are not available. I don't want them to, but I feel like the Bucs kind of do better later round draft picks, second and third round, than they do in the first round lately. So, but like I was saying, with the 15th overall pick in the 2026 NFL draft, the Buccaneers could select Kenyon Sadiq, tight end, Oregon. If he's there, take him. Seriously. I know we just signed on to a 3-year deal, but seriously, if he's there, take him. Take him. This guy's a thick receiver. I know we have plenty of receivers, but there's a part where I'm thinking, if he's the best available, plus he's the top person in his position, it's kind of hard to say, do we really need a tight end? Yeah, but he's the top of his position, especially if all the other pass rushers are taken. Or if you want to go security, I've heard this mock true. With a 15th overall pick, they go C.J. Allen, linebacker, Georgia. In middle linebacker, I know we got some acquisitions from free agency. I felt pretty solid by the decision. Levante was gone. I felt like that was kind of cleared up 100%. Why not? Let's get a secure linebacker in there. There's plenty of linebackers that we can get later in the round, in the second and third round, so this could be just a stretch, but it depends how the draft goes. And if we want to commit to the pass rush department, which I'm kind of more in favor of the pass rusher side, Akeem Mesidor, edge, Alabama. I like him a little bit more than Ruben. I mean, he was teamed up with Ruben, who was going to probably be drafted a pick higher than him in the draft, but he was still effective. He still had 12 sacks, so get a pass rusher. I mean, there's the guard from Penn State. There's a lot of players that I just feel like you really can't really go wrong, especially when it comes to the need basis, because I feel like a need is going to be available at 15. The question is, who? And are you willing to trade later to get more? But yeah, that's the Buccaneers draft class. I feel like the future is bright, even though people in Tampa think the ship's already sunk. But to me, I like no one paying attention to us. I kind of like that. So we'll conclude the NFC South by talking to the division champion Carolina Panthers. I know it's still hard to say that out loud. Who did a lot of shopping. But is it enough? Maybe not. But until next time, I'm Cortez, and I'm a critic. Thank you very much for watching, me hearties.